Well, we broke the news to you on midday yesterday. Austin Travis County has bumped us to stage 5 of the risk-based guidelines, the COVID risk-based guidelines, the strictest safety recommendations. Here's a reminder of what that means for you. If you're vaccinated, it's recommended that you wear a mask whenever gathering with friends or family, traveling or indoors, dining indoors. If you're unvaccinated or partially vaccinated, you're encouraged to stay at home and stick to takeout for dining. Health leaders say this is to help keep schools, businesses, and restaurants open. Joining us now is Kelsey Erickson Streufert. She's the Chief Public Affairs Officer with the Texas Restaurant Association. Kelsey, thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you so much for having me.
And Kelsey, first of all, what's your reaction to the news?
Well, it was expected. We've certainly been watching these Omicron numbers very closely. Along with the rest of the state. First and foremost, we're concerned about our employee and our customers' health and safety. The good news is we know how to prevent the spread of COVID at this point. It's the same protocols we've all grown to endure, if not love, and those are encapsulated in our Texas Restaurant Promise, which we encourage all restaurants to use. Of course, the second factor of this is the economic impact, and that's what we're really watching closely right now.
And realistically, Kelsey, how will the stage 5 guidance affect restaurants?
I don't know that the guidance so much impacts restaurants. I think at this point, Austinites are making informed, educated decisions based on their personal risk level. And that includes things like, of course, getting vaccinated and boosted if you're able to, wearing a mask, practicing social distancing. All of those guidelines are really what's going to see us through, regardless of the specific stage that we're at.
Well, you mentioned economically. How will the economics of this impact the restaurants then?
Yeah, we're watching that closely. We know Delta really impacted consumer demand. The good news is we're not seeing the same thing with Omicron at this point. The bad news is it's really exacerbating our workforce and supply chain challenges that have grown out of this pandemic. Even before the Omicron variant hit, 78% of our Texas restaurant operators reported that they didn't have enough employees to meet existing consumer demand. When you add an incredibly contagious variant on top of that, you're going to see some employees have to take, sick leave. And that's going to make it very difficult for restaurants to keep up with the demand. And that's why we're seeing some close or reduce hours or reduce the space of their restaurant that they're able to service. That's the really concerning thing, because we need restaurants to be able to fully meet demand so they can rebuild from the economic devastation they've experienced over the past 2 years.
Kelsey, even before the stage 5 announcement, we heard about a handful of restaurants and bars that had to temporarily close because of the staffing shortage. Do you have an approximate number of maybe restaurants that are closed right now?
I would say it's in the dozens. It's certainly a minority of Austin area restaurants, and they're closing for a variety of reasons. Some have seen outbreaks amongst staff. The good news there is we are seeing much quicker recovery times, much less severe illness with this Omicron variant, particularly amongst vaccinated individuals. So that's the real silver lining. Others are closing just to give their staff a break. We're so stretched thin right now that it's really important to take care of your existing employees who've been with us since the beginning of the pandemic. So it's a minority. We expect we will see some more of that as we work through this variant, but we're optimistic that the peak will come quickly and that we can really get our workforce healthy and back at restaurants to serve Austinites.
So for people hesitant to dine out, what's the message for those people?
The message is really, please support restaurants in any way that you feel comfortable doing. Restaurants are offering so many different options right now, whether that's curbside, takeout, delivery, meal packs, eating outdoors. Just look for whatever way you are able, you feel safe to support your local restaurants, and that is all we ask.
And we know the association's been so active. How has it helped the hundreds, thousands of restaurants here in Texas?
Oh, it's been a roller coaster, as my members tell me regularly, and unfortunately we're not done with that roller coaster, but there are some glimmers of hope on the horizon. There's talks about renewing the Restaurant Revitalization Fund. That's a federal program that Congress underfunded to provide grants to independent and local restaurants We're excited to see bipartisan talks on that really heat up as this Omicron variant has impacted the industry yet again. That's encouraging. We need that to continue. We were also able to secure $180 million from the state of Texas to really boost the hospitality, restaurant, tourism sector's recovery. Those funds will be coming out shortly once we figure out the rules and eligibility. So there are tools available, but we need more, frankly, to get through this next peak.
And I'm sure we will continue to hear news out of your organization. Kelsey Erickson Streufert, Chief Public Affairs Officer with the Texas Restaurant Association. Thanks again for your time.